been filtering out through its neighbor Colombia in South America. Some of the first to know about the developments in Panama and also the war against drugs inside Colombia itself are Colombians living in Miami, Florida. That's because there are now 2 radio stations in Miami that are devoting over half of their daily schedule primarily geared to the Colombian audience. As Jeff White reports, there are an estimated 250,000 Colombians in South Florida, and an increasing number are tuning into the sounds of home.
Última hora en su noticiero calidad.
Establecemos nuevamente contacto directo con Colombia. Desde Bogotá, reporta...
For the past 2 years, Radio Calidad has been providing Miami's Colombian community with news from home. It began as a half-hour show every day on local station WKAT and has expanded to occupy 13 hours a day of WKAT's programming from Monday to Friday. While the program service offers a variety of music and entertainment, the main emphasis is on news, 3.5 hours a day, plus short newscasts every hour on the hour. And Radio Calidad's news is very credible to Colombians living here because it includes special reports from correspondents in Colombia and because it's under the direction of Eucario Bermudez, a veteran broadcast journalist whose voice was well known for 25 years in his native Colombia before he came to Miami 8 years ago. Bermudez says the recent dramatic drug-related events in Colombia have sparked a lot of interest in his newscasts.
Sí, en estos días, pues la gravísima situación que ha enfrentado lamentable.
Yes, he says, in recent days, with the very grave situation our country is unfortunately experiencing, we've been in the headlines all over the world, and there's been a lot more interest on the part of Hispanic listeners to find out what's happening in Colombia. Since we have continuous contact with Colombia and instant information, the Hispanics have found us to be a quick and effective medium of communication to get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening there. Rudy Garcia is president of Radio Calidad. He says he created the program as a public service for the Colombian community and swears that he hasn't made 1 cent of profit on it. Yes, there are many commercials, but Garcia says they only pay enough for him to buy the airtime on WKAT and to pay the salaries of the small staff. The estimated 200,000 or so Colombians in Miami would seem to be an economically viable market, but Garcia says many of the Colombian-owned businesses are advertising on the other largely Cuban-owned Spanish-language stations.
Noticiero El Sol de Radio El Sol, 8:52 minutos. Vamos con el servicio de RCN en Colombia a escuchar una
A few weeks ago, Radio Calidad picked up a new competitor. A few persons previously involved in the operation decided to start another Colombian-oriented program service on a different AM station in town, WOCN. The new program, called Radio El Sol, is even more ambitious. It's bought the entire 24-hour-a-day schedule on WOCN 7 days a week. General Manager Francisco Restrepo thinks his venture will be a commercial success because he's not targeting just the Colombian audience, nor just the Colombian advertisers.
Cuando llegamos aquí, todos los comerciantes eran cubanos.
When we came here, says Restrepo, all the advertisers were Cuban. 1 month later, not one of them has left, and meanwhile, we've picked up a lot of Colombian advertisers. So commercially, we're doing what we have to do, joining the Cubans with the Colombians.
Con los colombianos.
5 full-time editors and reporters work in Radio El Sol's newsroom. Jorge Gomez Maldonado, one of the newscasters, recently came here from Radio Calidad.
Realmente, pues la competencia es buena, ¿no? Mientras
Really, he says, the competition is good as long as it functions in an honest manner. We're on this new frequency now, and we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a complete success. And General Manager Restrepo says one of the keys to their success will be an exclusive rebroadcasting agreement with RCN, one of the major radio networks in Colombia.
A través de un satélite permanente entre Bogotá y Miami.
Restrepo says, by means of a satellite link between Bogotá and Miami, we get information from RCN, and we have their service 24 hours a day. We have a person here continuously monitoring and recording that service. When we see a news item that merits it, we immediately put it on the air live, or we record it and broadcast it later.
Al instante por Radio El Sol.
So what's next for Miami's Colombian radio programs? Fernando Escobar, news director at Radio El Sol, says his sights are set beyond Miami.
We are planning to sell some programs outside to Chicago, New York, Houston, San Antonio, because we know that in that cities we have a lot of Colombian people, and they don't have this kind of programs.
And across town at Radio Calidad, Rudy Garcia says someday he'd like to have his own radio station instead of having to buy time on someone else's. But he acknowledges that that day is probably a long way off yet.
We have working people. I don't know where we can get $2-3 million. And we don't want to deal with nobody involved in drugs. Maybe we deal with drugs. Maybe we can buy tomorrow one station, but we don't want that. We are against drugs all the way.
Meanwhile, says Garcia, if he wins the lottery one of these days, he may just buy his own station and place it at the service of his fellow Colombian expatriates. For Radio Netherlands, I'm Jeff White in Miami.